Our roundtable with Mariana Mancuso, Republican political strategist, author of PoliticalHype.com, blog aimed at conservative millennials, and News Channel 5 political analyst Brian Crowley, author of CrowleyPoliticalReport.com. Thank you, as always, for being with us. During the campaign season, of course, debating, as I said, the debates, we had Congressman Brian Mast, the incumbent in Congressional District 18, as challenger, Democrat Lauren Bear, with us earlier in the week. Let's listen in part to what they had to say about toxic algae in Lake Okeechobee.
We knew what the problem was when he went into office, and yet he waited more than a year to do anything substantive and meaningful. And what he has done at this point doesn't address the underlying problem here, which is that polluters are dumping nutrients into the lake, which are causing these algal blooms.
So I recently put up on my website 30 things that I did working on our waterways prior to Ms. Bear ever even registering to vote in this district. And to go on beyond the myriad of things that I already listed, from the Southern Reservoir, getting that passed through Congress, it's going to the President's desk, redoing the Lake Okeechobee regulation schedule.
Algae, health care, Supreme Court nomination, and ultimately Brett Kavanaugh heading on to the Supreme Court. All of that and more. Big topics of debate. You both watched. Thoughts?
Well, I mean, obviously in a northern Palm Beach County Treasure Coast district, if you're not talking about the lake and the algae blooms and the red tide and all those other issues that wrap around it, then you're not talking about an issue that is of deep, deep concern to the voters in that region. The fact of the matter is that, as a freshman congressman, Brian Mast has done okay in moving things forward, but as a freshman congressman, and if she wins the election as a freshman, you have very, very limited opportunity to move the leadership in the direction you needed to go in. Freshmen are there to be seen and not heard most of the time.
A district that is flip-flop, Republican, Democrat, back to Republican. Your take on the debate and really overall the race in 18, which is nationally watched.
It was a well-done debate. It was very policy-focused. You could tell both of them were extremely prepared. And I would say in terms of different stance on policy, there's a very thin divide between the two of them. However, the largest divide you heard was in health care. Lauren Bear's health care plan above Mast's went above and beyond and was extremely comprehensive for everyone, and in the long run it's a lot more cost effective and doesn't leave anybody out to dry should they have a medical emergency.
And we'll see how that resonates with voters. The Democrats are all in nationally on making health care central to their campaign in the midterms. Senate race, Bill Nelson, Rick Scott, they do a debate. Then Hurricane Michael, everybody went off the trail, understandably, to deal with Hurricane Michael, but it appears no more debates with them. Help or hurt at this point in the cycle in that race?
I would say the best campaign strategy Governor Scott has right now is to forget the debates, continue to get considerable coverage for the work he's doing with Hurricane Michael, and all of that sort of pushes Bill Nelson into the shadows, and he needs to make sure he's back in the spotlight sometime over the next 3 weeks or it's going to hurt him.
Governor's race, we have two debates upcoming, one, of course, Sunday night coming up, so we'll have that for you. And then later in the week, Gillum, the Democrat, Andrew Gillum, the mayor of Tallahassee, Ron DeSantis, the Republican congressman backed by President Trump. Your take as the governor's race is really tight, at least according to polling right now.
It's going to be a very close race, and I think what this is going to come down to is we know that how Gillum has been perceived in helping with everybody having the issues in the Panhandle after the hurricane, and where Ron DeSantis has been previous to winning the primary and etc. And these debates are going to help solidify everybody and where they stand on policy. But we have to keep in mind that we still have 2.5 million ballots that have been mailed out that people have not returned. We have just about 640,000 that have been returned. Where
will that independent voter go? Your take on that gubernatorial race?
Well, you know, an interesting theory that's come out among some Republicans and Democrats in the past few days is that that Hurricane Michael has helped Governor Scott a great deal, that it could turn out that Governor Scott winds up pulling DeSantis to the finish line as people are voting the ballot, and that they vote Scott and then click off DeSantis right after that. So if that theory holds true, this could be a DeSantis win.
I think the best we can hope for in that debate between DeSantis and Gillum is that DeSantis doesn't say anything dumb.
And on that note, the political bar is set, and we will be back.
How sad. Please, next governor, don't say anything dumb.
We'll be back with more in just a moment.
Either one.